Welcome to Module 4. In this we're going to discuss categorical logic. Categorical logic is basically the idea that that we can put together syllogisms and other forms of logic, other forms of reasoning that depend upon statements like all are something, or no things are this, or some are this. And to a large degree, the classification, the categorization of things is something that we all learn at a very young age, to categorize things into different categories. The notes from this section, the lessons were written by the previous instructor, Marty Morris, and he does a very good job with them, so I didn't mess with them. But as far as the goes, I mean, so when you see some references to him, I know he references his 3-year-old grandson at one point, and I don't have grandchildren. I have a 2-year-old and a 1-year-old, but I don't have any grandchildren. So, you know, that might be something of note. But he makes a note about the fact that, you know, even early on, you know, like our children begin to categorize things. My 2-year-old, he's actually about 2.5, and he is very good at categorizing things. He, you know, there are things like tractors and anything that's whether it be a backhoe or a front loader or a tractor, as you would see, he is very good at calling them tractors. He used to call combines tractors until I taught him that they were combines, and now he calls them combines. As a matter of fact, he'll actually say, no, that's a combine if we pass by one, although we don't do that much in the winter. So what happens is, you know, we learn that all these things fall into different categories, and that helps us to then say, well, if that falls into this category and things in this category do this type of thing, then that must do that type of thing. And so that's sort of the way that categorical logic is all about, breaking things down into categories. And we'll do Venn diagrams and other things. Now, one of the questions that always comes up in a class is, you know, this gets pretty technical, and we're going to get pretty technical over the next few modules, especially with deductive logic. This will not be nearly as technical as a few of the next things, but as we move along, a lot of people will ask, you know, is this really going to be applied? Well, I doubt you're going to sit down and break things down into categorical statements and do diagrams in that regard. But it is something that all of us use, and being able to understand some of these processes and being able to think about what those statements mean and being able to sort of think about that will improve our reasoning. On a second level, just doing some of these problems, doing some of the Venn diagrams, drawing some of the pictures, doing some of these works is also useful, because it's I find it fun. I mean, at times, like, you know, just like doing Sudoku out of the newspaper, or a crossword puzzle or something. You know, they're just sort of little games to a certain degree, and I would encourage you to think of them as games and to think of them as, you know, kind of a fun thing to do. Instead of thinking of them as these tasks that you have to learn how to do. I mean, think about them as just, you know, have fun with them. And although some of you might be frustrated, I mean, that's sort of the way to do it. But the reason is that I always say, you know, doing these things helps to make your brain learn functions and to form synapses and to organize itself in a way that actually helps it work more efficiently. An example of this is, you know, for example, athletes. Tiger Woods is an example. You know, he's a golfer. Now, golfers need to be able to walk a golf course and swing a golf club and, you know, do a few things like that. But part of Tiger Woods' training every day is he runs something like 4 or 5 miles a day, and I forget what exactly it is. I believe it's 5 miles most days. And he also spends some time lifting weights. He's a weightlifter. Now, in the end, you know, lifting weights and running are not really skills required on the golf course. I mean, a golf ball weighs, you know, an ounce, if even that much. I mean, a golf club weighs, you know, ounces. I mean, these are not, I mean, I'm not even sure, maybe a pound. A golf club might weigh a pound. I mean, the ability to carry these things. Somebody's carrying his bag, you know, he's walking up and down some hills. It's not particularly strenuous. But what happens is that what he finds is if you walk a golf course and you're under pressure and you're thinking, you're bending over and you're doing all this, that running 5 miles a day builds a lot of stamina. And so on a day when you need to go out and walk a golf course in a hot or a windy or a rainy day, that, even though, you might get a little bit tired if you weren't conditioned to run all this, when you're used to running like that exercise doesn't phase you. And so you're just as, you have just as much stamina on the first hole as you do on the 18th. And as far as the weightlifting, I mean, the fact is you want to be able to swing your golf club hard, but you don't want to have lost any precision. And so having strong muscles allows you to control your muscles and allows you to swing it better. And so all of that is sort of the key. And so sort of in a similar way, this is like lifting weights and running for the brain. I mean, you go through these processes, you'll think through them, you have some fun with them, but you'll learn a few tricks, you'll learn a few ways to, help yourself organize ideas, and you can apply those. But overall, it's mainly a way for you to also improve the function of your brain, that you will actually think better, work better, and do things better because of the fact that you did these exercises. And so please keep that in mind. I also want to make one last note. There are quite a few exercises I assign. If you start through some of the exercises, you do, like, you get to 3.4B and you've done the first 5 and they're real simple. Just read through it. You don't have to. This is it's mainly work for yourself. But I do recommend you go through all of it, because your ability to do all those problems and work through them and think through them will greatly help you as you take the exam and do other work. So, there is a lot of work, and I encourage you to spend some time and think about it, but also start early. Start this week and start doing some problems, because trying to do it all in 1 week or 1 day is not going to end well for you. Thank you.